Yeah.
Hi guys, Happy Conscious Gal here. Nice to see you all. I told you in my last vlog that I was going to make a continuation, second one. In my last vlog I shared my exciting news of how I went to my HCG clinic today and got my test results back after the first 2 weeks of HCG, and it showed that not only have I lost a huge amount of weight on the scales, which is I've lost 6.7 kilograms or 14.8 pounds, and I'm on day 12. It's amazing. But their test also showed that my body fat composition has gone down a lot, like 3% or something, which is huge. And they actually showed that my muscle has gone up. So my fat's gone down, my muscle's gone up, which is just bizarre and amazing. And she told me she's never seen results like this before, and she's been doing this for years. So it also showed that my cell quality had gone up as well, from excellent to very excellent. So I said in the last vlog that one of the reasons for that is I've spent the last year really building up my nutrition. I've done a lot of cleanses, I've been eating superfoods and raw foods and all sorts of stuff. But the other half of the equation that I know has been contributing to these amazing results is I put in place a whole lot of things leading up to this HCG protocol and in the first 2 weeks of it that I know have been helping me dramatically. Because really the body is just a reflection of our set of beliefs and how we see ourselves in the world. I really believe that the outer is just a reflection of the inner. If you see yourself as a fat person who's worthless, who has no reason to be here on this earth and who hates themselves, your body is going to represent that. It's going to reflect that. And I've done a huge amount of work over the last few years to shift how I view myself, see myself as a person of value, to love myself, to know that I'm here for a reason on this planet, and to really look at all the childhood conditioning that got me to store the body fat in the first place. So I really encourage everyone to think about, why has your body put on this weight? And in my case, I realized from doing a lot of work on this that my body fat served me very, very well. And I think we need to look at this, our body fat is not our enemy. It's not like, ooh, I hate my fat, I wish it just melted off and I'm so glad it's gone, yuck. I don't see it like that, because that's a self-hating view. It's like, ooh, I don't like this thing on me, I want it gone. I used to think like that. I used to look in the mirror and think I looked hideous. Even when I was slim, I used to look in the mirror and think I looked hideous. No matter what size I was, I looked in the mirror and I thought I looked hideous. But I've done a lot of work to come to a place of self-love. And I've realized that this fat, any fat that's on my body, is there for a very good reason, and it was serving me very well at the time. And what I need to do is look at why it was there, and how can I shift those underneath reasons so that the fat doesn't need to do that job anymore, if that makes sense. So I did a huge lot of work on that about 18 months ago when I was in New Zealand after this man broke up with me. By the way, he broke up with me because I was too fat. Even though I had a nice face, he said, when he got me naked, I was just too flabby. I had too big of a stomach and flabby everywhere, and he just couldn't handle it. Now, he was an asshole, obviously. But if you think of why I attracted him into my life, I attracted him into my life because that's how I felt about myself. I thought I looked fat and flabby and disgusting. So I manifested a partner who thought that. Because the world always reflects our reality back to us. So anyway, I realized that's what was going on. I thought, wow, I've just manifested my worst nightmare. A man I really love who doesn't want me because I'm fat. Well, hang on. I don't want me because I'm fat. So there's something happening here. You see what I mean? It's like he's just reflecting me. So anyway, once I realized that was a huge turning point. And I did a whole lot of work on, well, how can I come to look at my body fat differently so I don't hate it? Because hating yourself doesn't help. You want your body to cooperate with you. It's not going to cooperate with you if you hate it. So I was like, why do I hate my body fat? Well, maybe there's another way to look at it. Maybe it's been serving me. So I thought about it. I did a lot of meditations on it. I wrote letters to myself. I think it was a Marianne Williamson's book about weight loss. She has a lot of amazing processes in it. And one of them is where your fat self writes a letter to your thin self, and your thin self writes a letter to your fat self. Anyway, through doing all processes like that, I realized that the main reason I had body fat, well, there was quite a lot of reasons I had body fat. The main one was as a buffer, like to literally physically protect myself from my environment as a child, because there was a lot of screaming, a lot of anger, a lot of craziness in my childhood house. And my way of protecting myself was literally to create a physical buffer. And I know that's very, very common with people who are overweight, that their weight has been put there as protection. It's almost like an armoring with fat. So that's one reason. Second reason I had the weight on me was because my sister was very beautiful and skinny, and I was kind of the successful, clever one, and I sort of let her have the skinny, pretty thing, so she wouldn't feel like I had everything, because if I had been smart and clever and successful and skinny and pretty, then she would have felt depressed. That's what I thought as a child, in my childish brain back then. And I started to realise that, hang on, I'm an adult now, she's an adult, she'll be inspired if I'm looking good and doing well. That's all just in my head. That was just a belief that I had as a child, which turned out not even to be true. Because having done lots of work on it over the last few years, what I've realised is that was just a belief I took on. That wasn't even the truth. In actual fact, if I'd been pretty and smart, she would have just found me inspiring. She wouldn't have found me, it wouldn't have made her feel bad about herself at all. But that was what my belief was. So to stop her feeling upset, I made sure I always looked fat as a teenager and as a child. So that was reason number 2. Another reason was I learned very early on not to feel my feelings, particularly anger, not to feel anger or sadness, to always just be chirpy and happy. There were people in my family who were very angry, very expressive and flying around with emotions, and then me and my dad were very calm and happy and cheerful. Never felt any anger. Anytime I felt any anger, I stuffed it. And what happens when you stuff your feelings? Where do you think you stuff them? This may sound airy-fairy, but we stuff our feelings into our body. You know, just like we stuff toxins in our fat cells, literally from food toxins, we also stuff emotions. And you may not believe me on that, but I tell you now, if you do work clearing your underlying emotions and allow yourself to start feeling your feelings, this weight will peel off. Because I've been doing that every day on this HCG diet. And as I said, my woman at the clinic said I've got the highest numbers she's ever seen. So I know it's because of the emotional work I'm doing. I'm basically at the point where if I'm feeling a feeling like anger or something come up, I'm actually allowing it to come up and I'm breathing. Instead of just squashing it with a joke or pushing it aside or changing the subject or repressing the feelings. So I'm really just feeling the feelings and breathing. So that's been huge. That's another piece of it. And when I get to P3, I've decided that I'm actually going to go back through my childhood to all the incidents where I probably was angry but never let myself feel it. So when someone stole something from me, or someone said something mean to me, or someone was awful to me, or whatever, I'm going to actually go back through all those moments in my childhood, in my teenage years, in my 20s, in my 30s, and allow myself to feel the feelings. Really feel them. Hit a cushion, scream, cry, vent, maybe speak into a voice recorder and tell them how much I hate them, and really just get the anger out. And then once the anger's out, I'm going to do some processes to get to a place of compassion and to release the anger. And that will involve really looking at, okay, well, why did this happen? Why did this boyfriend break up with me? Or why did this person cheat on me? Or why did this person lie to me? What was the lesson that I was here to learn? Why did my soul put me in front of this person? Why did their soul put them in front of me? What was the soul contract between us? What were the lessons we're both here to learn? And once you've allowed the anger to come through you, it's not stored in your body. And then you can use these kind of mental questions to ask, well, how was this situation serving me? What did I learn? What was the gift from this situation? And then you can start to feel gratitude for that boyfriend who broke up with you, or gratitude for, that person who lied to you. And then I'm going to get to the point where I'll be able to do a process where I'll release them. So I release you from your contract. You've done it now. Thank you very much. I release myself from the contract. And then I'll transmute the energy, into healing energy or into something else. Manifesting energy or money energy or whatever I want. The point is, by doing that, and I'm saving it for P3 for a particular reason, which I'll tell you because I know it's going to be powerful for P3. By doing that, by going through every single incident in my past and expressing all that anger or getting any last residues of it out of my body. Because otherwise, I can lose all this fat in P2, but if I've still squashed all my emotions, the fat's just going to come back on. And if I'm still in the habit of squashing my emotions, the fat's just going to come back on. So in P3, I'm going to get rid of all the old anger from my entire energy field, from my entire system. And by turning it to a place of compassion and coming to a state of gratitude for the lessons I learned and for the role those people played in my life, I'll I'll start to be filled with even more gratitude than I am now. And I personally believe this, that when you're a being who is feeling grateful and full of love, you're vibrating at a very high frequency, and that keeps your body very healthy. People can feel it when they meet you. I don't know if you've ever met someone who's really full of love and just a joyful person. They're glowing, their skin is glowing, they're full of health. And since I've already done the work I've done in the last few years to let go of so much stuff in my life, I've seen my level of radiance increase compared to what it used to be. And I know that the key to keeping the weight off and to being in top health is that my body's filled with gratitude and filled with love. And I don't think it can be that when there's all this repressed old anger that's been there for years. So I've committed to myself to do it in P3. I decided not to do it in P2 because I think all that screaming and hitting and smashing cushions and screaming and yelling is going to use a lot of energy. And on P2, we're really not supposed to be doing extreme exercise or burning huge amounts of energy. We're supposed to be staying fairly calm. And so I've promised myself I'll do that in P3. But in P2, what I'm doing is I'm spending a lot of time breathing, staying calm. Anytime I feel a feeling come up, I allow myself to feel it, so my body won't store it, so I won't layer on more fat cells to protect myself from the emotions. I allow myself to feel it. I breathe, and I let it move through me energetically, and the energy moves out. So that's one of the main things I've been doing. There's also a whole lot of other things I've been doing in the last 2 weeks, as well as that, which I think have really contributed to getting these amazing test results. So I just realized I've talked for another 10 minutes again. So I'm going to make a third vlog now telling you about those things, because I think getting these test results has really motivated me to share everything with you guys that I've been trying out and that I've been seeing results from. So hopefully that was inspiring you. If you found it a bit airy-fairy, don't worry, stick with these vlogs, because I'm talking about stuff on every level, from the deepest, most basic physical stuff, through to emotional stuff, through to really esoteric spiritual stuff, and everything in between. Because I'm looking at this on all levels. You cannot shift a lifelong pattern of a weight problem or a chronic pain problem or a health problem unless you look at it at every single level. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm sharing with you in this vlog. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.